busy.
You're running.
I have to go out to the rail park for an interview with KWQC.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
What time is that?
11.
All right. Well, if you need help with that, just let me know. No, I don't know.
Make up, please.
Make up.
Okay, you ready, Jenny?
Yes.
Here we go. Here comes the intro.
You're listening to the Grow Clinton podcast. Grow Clinton is a 501c6 nonprofit economic community development and tourism organization based in Clinton, Iowa. For more information, visit growclinton.com. Again, that's growclinton.com. Now, back to the show.
What's happening, all you beautiful people out there in podcast land listening to the Grow Clinton podcast? That's right. We're back. Episode 116, recorded on this 14th day of May, 2025. As always, my name, Andy Sokolovich, the president and CEO of Grow Clinton, joined by the lovely Jenny home from our office. Jenny, what's happening?
Oh, like you said, this is a busy day.
Busy day.
You know what I'm working on? I'm working on a membership survey.
Very good.
I am. I'm gonna
excited
find
about
out.
that.
Yeah. I want
One of the
people
things, I always try to steal things that are successful for other people.
Oh, I'm good at that too.
Borrow it, whatever you want to call it.
Why not?
And I listen to the Harvard Business Review podcast on leadership every morning when I walk my dogs.
All right.
And I always find it cool that at the end of the podcast and the beginning, they say, hey, we love that you enjoy our podcast, but we always want to make it better.
Yes.
So what can we do to improve not only the podcast, but our membership benefits for those that are investors in Grow Clinton? Go visit whatever.com/survey.
That's what we're working on.
So that's what we're working on.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that. Speaking of members,
Yes,
you know them.
I do.
You love them.
I do.
They're everywhere. You want to access the World Wide Web. That's right, folks. Miles Communications, powering the Grow Clinton podcast. Go to milestelephone.com. Again, milestelephone.com for information regarding their high-speed fiber internet, television, and telephone services. Milestelephone.com, powering the Grow Clinton podcast for over 116 episodes coming up.
I know that.
Craziness.
It's great.
Great guest today, Jenny.
These are the guests that take care of the greatest people in our community.
That's right. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have two representatives from the Alverno here in Clinton, Iowa. We have Letha and Darla, not Barb. I don't know why I called you Barb earlier, but thank you so much for joining us. Whichever one of you wants to kick this off, tell us a little bit about the Alverno, the history, and some future projects you guys have on the docket.
Okay, well, I'll start to tell you that a little history about the Alverno. So the Sisters of St. Francis started back in 1839 with providing cares for individuals.
Wow, 1839.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
I love those sisters. I do,
Wow.
but
I
you
do
don't
too.
mess with them.
No.
You don't mess with
you
the
don't
sisters.
mess with
No, I
them.
went to Sunday school.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
It was actually in the 1960s when it was determined that they needed a building to provide more care.
Mhm.
So the community came together and actually opened up in January of 1971. And it is the building where we are still today at.
Yeah, right there on Bluff Boulevard.
So that was a total community project straight from Clinton,
It was.
grown out of
So-
our own people. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we moved in the building and we continue to provide care there. You go into the late 1980s, they were seeing more sophisticated and demanding cares. And then in the late 2000s, management responsibilities shifted to outside the organization where Chicago Sisters of St. Francis took over. And then in 2013, Trinity Senior Community Living became, they purchased.
Yeah.
But we
Cool.
very, very active with the sisters still. But I think that you got to go with the history and stuff that it wouldn't be for them.
Awesome. Now, I know the Sisters of St. Francis here in Clinton. Many of
Mhm.
them I know very well. And as I said earlier, you don't mess with them. But can you imagine Sisters from St. Francis from Chicago?
No.
You really don't mess with
No.
them.
And the thing that I know about, I went to the Mount as well, Mount St. Clair College. They are very accomplished. I mean,
Yeah.
very intelligent, very accomplished, and very determined to
Yeah.
serve the community. So that, is really interesting to me that they are so involved in that. And that, like I said, it started so long ago, but it was grown right out of our own community.
I would have to say, I don't know if you guys, but Darla, I know you were in the time of Sister Ruth. And,
Oh, Sister Ruth. Yes.
I mean, people know her in the
yes.
throughout the state of Iowa and
Mhm.
everything, that Sister Ruth. And again, I think it goes that the history and the foundation that she built on there, that we still continue to carry out the
Yeah.
tribute
Sister
and
Ruth,
stuff.
she was a
But
powerhouse.
She was.
Mhm.
And when you get an email from Sister Ruth, you respond to Sister Ruth's
Right now.
Yeah,
emails.
that's
Mhm.
great.
You do.
Yes.
So Darla, I see you're wearing a badge that says registered nurse on it.
Yes, sir.
What duties do you fulfill at the Alverno?
My job title is actually the Director of Education, which is a state regulated position. But as the RN, sometimes the needs of the facility and the residents come before the education component of it. So I can do bedside nursing and I do staff nursing when needed, but that's not my primary job. So as an educator, one thing about long-term care is it's highly regulated. In fact, it's known as like the third most regulated industry in the nation.
By the state or the federal government?
Federal and
Both.
state.
Both.
Okay, wow.
And you know what's ahead of that? Nuclear power.
Okay.
So, I mean, geez, that's
Yeah.
a lot of regulation.
So as a result, the different levels of staff and especially the nursing department are required to have a certain number of hours per year. And if there's a need for maybe a new resident coming that has like maybe a new piece of equipment or a piece of equipment we haven't seen in a while, my job is to, go ahead of that admission and educate the staff about that. Housewide education, we all remember the bad C era, the
Mhm.
COVID,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of education with staff with that. And I do some community education as well. And then training of new staff. That's my favorite part of the job. So anybody in the nursing department that comes on board, they spend time with me before they go to the floor with their mentor and that sort of thing.
So what makes an individual eligible to move into the Alverno?
Well, if they had the needs, I mean, a lot of our individuals come from the hospital. I talked about that. We have skilled services, so that's usually rehab. So, sometimes people have a fall at home or they have some skin issues and stuff. So they come to the Alverno to get better and go back home. And I was telling Jenny that we have anywhere from 15 to 17 residents on a regular basis in our skilled care unit. And believe it or not, that it's about a 14 to 16 day stay.
Okay.
So it's not a
Wow.
long time.
Yeah.
It's the managed cares that are calling the shots on that. It's not a long time and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think, we can do that. These people, they get you in there and I mean, they're working you therapies, nursing, that type of thing. But yeah, it's a 14 to 16 day is a stay.
But you do have long-term residents that
We
live
do
there.
have. So we have an overall, we can provide services to 128 residents at the Alverno.
Wow.
So we have the short-term rehab, which we have anywhere from 15 to 17, but we can do more. All of our beds are duly certified. So what's nice that let's say that we have a long-term care resident that goes into the hospital and has their 3 nights overnights and they need to come back with some skilled services. They can do it right in their room. They don't have to move to the skilled unit.
Okay.
They can do it right in their room. They're certified. We have a 22 bed memory care unit, which is very unique. You do not find many of those in Iowa at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
To have a 22 bed memory care unit. We have then our long-term care residents. We have an average of 72 to 74 residents that are long-term care.
You would not think that
No.
number if you just simply drove by on Bluff Boulevard and looked at the space, but we have the opportunity every once in a while to go in and tour the building, and it is much larger when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
actually inside walking the grounds than you would think just passing by.
And there are employees. You are a big employer in our
We
town.
do. We have 165 employees on our
Are you
payroll.
serious? I
Mhm.
did not know
Yeah.
that. 165.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 165, and I think that I think it's special to be known too that out of 165, I just looked yesterday, over 25 of those employees have over 10 years of service.
Yeah. so
I've got
little
some people that have
turnover.
got 48. I've got people that have got 48 to 50 years of employment. Darla's
Wow.
been here 17 years.
Wow.
I've been there
You
almost
said
3 years.
48?
48 years.
Oh,
She
wow.
started as she's PRN, but
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
she started as a CNA and then came to be the receptionist. She actually took part-time retirement, but she's working the receptionist this week. She's back on
Great.
retirement, helping us
Yeah.
out. So
We talk so much about work culture. And I mean, what says it more than people who don't leave? I mean, we'll still work after 48 years,
Mhm.
wants to keep coming back every day or whenever needed.
Yeah.
mhm.
That's amazing. And not only that, but maybe you're too modest, but I'm going to bring it up. You guys are award winners.
Award winners.
Mhm.
What prestigious award have you won?
I'm gonna let Darla talk about that.
Do it.
Our most favorite one to talk about is the Gold Quality Award. It is very prestigious. We're the only nursing home in Iowa that has received it, and there's only 34 in the nation that's received it.
That's incredible.
It was a big deal and a lot of work, but very much worth it. And then for the last several years, we've been in the top 10 nursing homes with the U.S. News and World Report.
Very nice. I love it. Yeah, our good friend Jeanette Peterson.
Yes.
She lives over there, correct?
No.
No, where's she live at?
Sarah Harding.
Oh, Sarah Harding.
Yeah.
I was
A
confused.
little bit different.
Little bit different. So yeah, let's talk about that. What is the difference between like Sarah Harding, the Alverno, all those locations? Because you guys are on 13th.
We are on 13th.
I get them confused.
That's okay.
I know you said Bluff, but I thought, well,
Yeah,
he's-
correct me. I don't know everything.
I said I don't think we came from Bluff, did we? But okay.
No, that's Sarah Harding.
Yeah.
Sorry, flip flop. I'm
Um,
mistaken.
Sarah Harding is independent living, and we are a nursing. So we provide
Okay.
nursing services. We have a nurse in the building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Round the clock.
We do nursing. We do physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. We have maintenance. We have activities. We have dietary. We have social services. We have transportation. What am I missing, Darla?
Oh,
Anything?
I think you got it all.
Educator, educating.
Yeah. You also have a coffee shop in there, correct?
You know what? They left.
Oh no.
No,
We're looking
gosh.
shy. I'm out of it.
We are looking for somebody. We would love
Hey,
for somebody
that's great
come
to
back
talk
in
about.
to
Yeah.
do the coffee shop. No, they had some staffing issues.
Yeah.
And nobody's been able to. We've reached out to some places and nobody has been able to provide the manpower to do
Mhm.
it. But we welcome. It's all set up. It's ready to go. We just need somebody to come in and take it over. That yes, we have a coffee shop in there.
And you bring up a
Yeah.
good point. I mean, the staffing issues, I think RNs are kind of hard to find right now. I
Scarce,
mean,
yeah.
scarce. Mhm.
I would say if you ask me what our challenges are going in is staffing. One good thing is we don't have agency, so we don't have agency nursing or agency nurse aides. All of our staff come to work for us.
That's
So we
great.
want the buy-in and things. So, but yeah, nursing is, and I don't even think we've hit that tip of the nursing shortage, the CNA nurse aide shortage. And then, we have a lot or high, people are staying home longer, people are living longer, and then they're coming into the hospital and they're sick. They're more sick. I
Mhm.
don't think
Mhm.
sicker is a word, more
Yeah.
sick. And then they're coming to us. So I see that higher acuity things that we have going on too.
Mhm.
Why I also want to mention that we have an RCF unit. So it's
Mm.
kind of like assisted living,
What does that stand for?
residential care facilities.
Okay.
So they tried to get assisted living, but we were like just a couple inches short in the rooms to qualify for the assisted living as
Mm.
far as the square footage of the rooms. So we do have an RCF. We have 16 beds there. We're closely full. And the caveat for that is that they can come to RCF and not need much care, but then they're guaranteed a spot in long-term care so they don't have to move again
Oh.
when they reach that
That's
level of care.
So convenient.
So
Mhm.
that's another. I think we broke it down to all of our services that we do. But yeah.
Now, how are these services paid for?
Well, we have Medicare. We have the managed cares that do a lot of pay for the skilled stays. We have private funding. We do have insurance, private insurance, long-term care insurance. And then believe it or not, I think there's a myth out there that people think that you've got to have private pay to come to the Alverno, but we are meeting what the community's needs are, and people do not have the resources anymore. And we do
Right.
take
Mhm.
Medicaid.
Oh, that's excellent.
We
Right.
do take Medicaid. So
That's excellent.
Mhm.
we again, I think our focus is that we want to do what we feel the needs are for the community. We
Yeah.
want to keep people in the Clinton area. I was telling Jenny back in 2024, we did convert some beds, took less RCF beds to make more long-term care beds. Because if you look at statistics, 2026 and 2027, just in Clinton alone, we're going to need about 471 long-term care beds.
Ooh,
And
wow.
we don't have between us and Eagle Point.
Right.
We don't have 471.
Yeah,
long-term
that's
care.
tough.
Can you
That's
imagine? I
always
mean,
tough.
you live your whole life in a town and then you have to move because, I mean, that would be upsetting.
Well, I always think about my parents.
Mhm.
They're getting older. They're lively and they're healthy and
Right.
all is good, but they're all back in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And I often think to myself, like, what am I going to do when they get to a point where they maybe need to move out of a home
Right.
and go to some place like the Alverno?
Mhm.
So I do spend a lot of time thinking about that, and it's important to me that they're well taken care of. So I love. Do you guys still have that awesome fountain out in the front? We did a ribbon cutting for it one time.
We have a fountain out in the courtyard. We don't
Oh,
have
okay.
a
Yeah.
fountain in the front, but we have a nice
Mhm.
display in the front.
Nah, okay, yeah, very
Um,
cool. I love this. Yeah, what are we gonna do? I mean, that's some of the things we think about. A lot of times when we look at some of like the older housing we have in the downtown Clinton area, we call the flats,
Mhm.
and it's somewhat dilapidated and needs to be fixed. But that was somebody's home for a long time, and what you find is that maybe the sons, daughters, grandsons, granddaughters don't live here anymore.
No, that's true.
And then the older individual leaves,
Mhm.
moves someplace like the Alverno, and that home just kind of deteriorates. I wish that we had the opportunity, and we're making progress, but to redevelop those homes and bring them back to their original
Mhm.
glory, because somebody was in there working day in and day out to
Mhm.
make it a beautiful home, and
A
to sit
nice
back
home.
and watch some of these houses deteriorate
Right.
is sad.
We got to take care of our older community. And,
Yeah.
my mom people always, I joke with them and say, somebody asked me once which one of my kids is going to take care of me in my old age. And I said, oh, that'll be my mom. Because my mom is so healthy and so vibrant and so, out there living her life. But people do live a lot longer now. And like you were saying, a lot of times you have people in your care who are 90s, but their kids are in their 70s. And
Mhm.
so you need a lot of navigation through all of that and
Yeah.
help. And you have the experts there to do it, which is really comforting.
And you just, you don't know when that time comes up. It's like, then we have all these acronyms in healthcare, and it's hard for
Mhm.
people to navigate that. So it can be, but I think that I'm very proud to say that as the administrator of the Alverno that, we do an awesome job
Yeah.
taking care of the people.
You really do.
We carry out our
Mhm.
mission statement every day and believe in what we do.
Very
That's
mindful
excellent.
of it. Mhm.
Do you have many veterans that live there?
Yep, we do. We do.
Yeah. I'd love to be able anything you guys need as far as if you ever put together a little celebration for them. That's something I am personally very passionate about, being a veteran myself.
We'll take you up on that.
No, we love
We'll
to do
add
stuff
that.
like that.
Yeah.
I
mean, we do.
absolutely think they deserve to be, it's, so we will take you up on that. I'll have Amy Wilkins, my activity director, reach out to
thank
you
you,
and
because
do something.
we just lost Henry Langer in our town, just shy of 100 years of age. A great World War II veteran, amazing story, a book written about his courageous acts in France. And we just lost him. So I am laser focused really on supporting that World War II generation, because they're very few and far between.
They are, and they did so much work.
You don't find, we have Wally Schilling, who's 100 years old, and he was World War II, but I don't think that, in all honesty, I think World War II and the Korean, you don't see them. We're going into different because they have passed on, but everybody has a story.
Oh, that's what I was just going to say. I was say all the stories that
I'd
are
love
in there.
to capture that.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to take, a recorder
Yeah.
and interview some of these individuals so they can share their story, because that generation never really spoke about their experiences.
The silent
they left the
generation,
service,
yeah.
they went right into the workplace, and they maybe had told stories here and there, but it's so unfortunate that their grandchildren or great grandchildren don't have the opportunity to hear the impact those men and women had on the future of this country and supporting our freedom. So I love that. My grandfather on both sides were active duty military, so I used to ask them a ton of questions. My grandfather would also tell me stories that my mom would get mad at. Like the one he's notorious for telling is when he was drunk in Italy, is what he said.
Italy.
And he was passed out on a bus bench, and the rest of his unit got on the bus and left, and he woke up in Italy, sobered up, and was like, okay, now how am I getting back to my post?
Where am I?
My mom would always say before I go in the service, she's like, don't tell him those stories.
But when you think about it, you go by, like Andy said, you go by on 13th Avenue North or Springdale Drive.
Mhm.
We're so used to seeing the Alverno there. Just think of all the stories that are in there. Think of all the life that has been led that, people should know about that. It's all interesting. I think we'd be surprised by a lot of the stories. You get to a certain age and people think that maybe you did not have any fun, but I bet they did. So,
Yeah, I
it'd be
bet they
great to,
did.
Mhm.
I remember my grandfather was in an assisted living facility, and as soon as you walked in the door, it was large, like the Alverno. It wasn't a small facility, but he lived in an apartment. As soon as you walked in, it was to the left, down at the end of the hallway, and he would have his WWF wrestling on so loud you could hear it from the entranceway.
They know about this.
And then he would go outside and he would drive around a scooter, and the ladies would sit on a little balcony,
Uh-oh.
and he'd sing to them while he would drive his scooter around the parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Ladies,
was,
man.
yeah,
That's
he
crazy.
was a character for
Yeah.
sure. But I'm sure you have a few of those at the Alverno, huh?
Oh, we do. We could tell you lots of stories and stuff.
Lots of
I can tell
fun.
you, yeah, we had a petting zoo yesterday. It happens to
Oh.
be nursing home week, so we're celebrating every day. So we had a petting zoo yesterday. So we almost bought a llama, but
Oh,
then
Oh, it's
you
what
have
need.
plenty of room. Why didn't you
You could
get
have named
it?
him Al,
I
the
told him don't
Alverno
allow me.
llama.
I told him don't allow me to,
Alverno.
so big.
Alverno.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You
so
have
cool.
all that space. You have no excuse.
So if people want more
Yeah.
information on the Alverno, I'm sure they can just stop by. Don't listen to me because I don't know where it's at. It's on 13th right there at
Mhm.
Springdale. Now that you corrected me, I
It's
feel comfortable speaking about it.
okay.
But how do they get in touch with you guys?
You can see us. We have a website. You can stop by anytime and we will be happy to give you a tour, take your number, answer your questions and stuff. So we're always readily available.
Perfect.
And
Now,
when-
I'm sure, Darla, you work closely with Mercy as well in the community.
Yeah, actually, I worked at the hospital for 30 years before
Oh,
I came to the
great.
Alverno.
Darla, you're telling him how old you are.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
put it
Did you
out
ever
there.
work on the Jane Lamb side?
Yes. In
Okay.
the emergency department.
Yeah. I'm
Darla.
interested in what's going to happen with that facility.
I'm
it
a
is
little
listed for
worried.
sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I sit on the board of directors for Mercy One, and we were discussing early on about just demolishing it, but the price tag to do so was insane,
Yeah.
and it could be redeveloped. I have not been inside for a long time,
Mhm.
but yeah, what a big chunk of history for the
Yeah.
Clinton community.
Mhm.
And we think about an RN who's been working at least 30 years, all the stories you have,
Plenty.
plenty.
Plenty of
Especially
stories.
from the ER.
Yes.
You've
yeah,
seen it all.
Yes.
You've
Seems like.
seen it all.
But speaking of stories, I might just interject here. You were talking about how to get a hold of us.
Mhm.
I would just say from a personal and professional standpoint, sometimes you might need to have the difficult conversations with your parents,
Mhm.
And check out the facilities in your area. So if there's a crisis and mom or dad can't go home, what are my options? And it's a lot better to know, first of all, what their wishes are, what they're capable of handling as far as, are they assisted living material? Are they not? Would their finances support assisted living or not? And to kind of have some background as far as their wishes and what's available in your community or where your parents would live. And it'll take a lot of the pressure off and not such last minute panic mode.
That's
Yeah, so
great
plan
advice.
accordingly. Have those
Yeah.
conversations early.
Because it doesn't happen in any kind of set schedule. Sometimes you just
Yeah.
hit right out of the
Yeah.
blue with that stuff. And it's good to
Mhm.
have a plan. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's conversations you don't want to have, but you
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very well. Keep up the great work.
Yes.
Anything you need from us, never hesitate to reach out. I'm serious about that veteran thing.
Mhm.
We have some Grow Clinton challenge coins, which are military specific. We'd love to be able to come out, meet with some of your vets and hand those out and just say thank you for your service.
That's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
They
Actually.
would love that. And
Yeah.
we will plan for that. So
We'll rally our
Let's do
friends,
it. Yeah.
Jim and John from the YAM Vets and the American Legion. They're
Mhm.
always looking for opportunities to reach out. One of the, Clinton County per capita has one of the largest concentrations of veterans
Mhm.
in the entire state.
Yep.
So we're very proud of that.
Very proud. Of
And that's something we want to continue to foster the growth of. So is there anything you want to share before we close out this episode?
No,
You guys
just that
covered it.
we're here to provide the services in the community, and we're going to continue on with that history. And we really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to
Yeah.
learn more about it.
Anytime.
Mhm. There,
And we're
many-
always available to, what Darla said, sometimes it hits you in the face, really,
Right.
that
Yeah.
we're getting older and that you need to look at those things and be prepared.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, we're there for you.
I'll tell you what, in my family, the Alverno, with aging relatives has been like a big security blanket.
Yeah.
It's there and it makes you feel better because it's there.
All right, everybody. Jenny, what do you got going on the rest of the week here?
Oh, I got some visits, of course, because I love doing those. And then I don't know, it's getting close to Friday, so I'm just going to be
Getting
running
close
around.
to Friday.
Mhm.
Looking forward to it. Guess
Yep.
what?
What?
Guess what I have this weekend?
What?
Baseball.
No, really?
My son plays travel baseball for the River City Crush.
Yeah, the crush.
And we are playing in now I'm from the East Coast, so I say it differently.
What?
Tournament.
Tournament.
I say tournament.
Yes.
Everybody always comments like, how do you say it?
Tournament.
Tournament. Down in Rock Island. Guess what time his game starts?
7 a.m.
8 a.m. Guess what time he needs to be there?
6:30.
7 a.m.
No.
So we're gonna leave early.
That's too much. It's
So,
too much.
Yeah, we'll see. I enjoy watching him
Yeah,
play. This
they
is the
love it.
last year he'll play travel ball because he'll be 14.
Oh
and then
my
he'll
gosh.
be playing for Prince of Peace. So
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
we're very excited about
Wow,
that. But
14.
weather's supposed to be beautiful.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. It's
Perfect.
finally warming up out there.
Mhm.
A little too warm actually for my liking, but
It's
it is
supposed to
what it
cool
is.
off for the weekend though,
Yeah.
which is good.
All right. Last, thanks to Miles Communications for supporting the Grow Clinton podcast with high-speed fiber internet. Again, if you want high-speed fiber internet, maybe your internet's running slow, you're looking for dependability, you're looking for awesome customer service, milestelephone.com. Check them out. Again, my name's Andy Sokolovich. I've been your host for this 116th episode of the Grow Clinton podcast. Until next time, stay classy, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Grow Clinton podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on all your socials. Until next time, see ya.
There we go. Well done.
Yeah.
Done there. Still live. Say bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Ending.